Hi guys, welcome back. My name is Salma and this is my booktube. Today I have my September wrap-up, or what I read in September. I was pretty much in a slump at the beginning of the month, and then I started reading, and then I got busy, and then I discovered Stuff Your Kindle Day, and things happened. So let's just get straight into it. So I'm gonna go from the first book I read to the last book I read. So the first book I read was Disarray by G.N. Wright. I can't say much about it, but it's a Why Choose MC Club romance. This is the fourth book in a series. They're all like following the same timeline and the same characters, so the books end on a cliffhanger. However, this is the last book in the series, so you can now get it and it's complete. It follows how the hell did I forget her name already? Rebecca, Ezra, Killian, and Killian and Aiden. And Why Choose is like 3 guys, 1 girl. Or it's multiple guys, 1 girl. So there's that. I gave this book 5 stars. Absolutely loved it. I don't know if it will focus, but those are the tabs. And yeah, I devoured this book. Absolutely loved it. Also, please check trigger warnings for all of these books, but please check trigger warnings. This is a dark series. Next book I read was Minx by Sophie Lark. Now, I picked this book up for a video that I am doing, which will be coming out soon. I just have to finish the other books. But this is about Ramses and Blake. Blake is like high escort service girl, sort of. It's hard to explain. She only has like a certain amount of clients, very, very like VIP, and Blake, Blake catches his eye and he wants to be the only one for her. That's all I want to say. It's so good. Please, please, please read it. I don't think there's a lot of triggers. However, just check trigger warnings in general, because who knows. But Sophie's writing is just so easy and just like so flowing, and I'm in love with her writing. I have now read basically all of her newer stuff. I have to go back and dive into her backlist, but yeah, very, very excited. This was really, really good. Highly recommend it. Next book I read was a reread. I will be rereading it again, but it's the right move. However, I didn't reread my own copy. I annotated a copy for a friend and I already sent it to her. So there's that. This book is like tied for my favorite book this year. Ryan and Indy are everything to me. If you've seen any of my other videos, you've seen me talk about it, but it's just absolutely incredible. For those who don't know what it's about, this is the second book in the Windy City series by Liz Tom Ford. First book is A Mile High, where you see these characters. But basically, this is about the brother of the FMC in the first book and her best friend. Now, her best friend gets cheated on and she needs a place to stay. Stevie, the girl from the first book, asks Ryan, her brother, to help her out and have him stay with her. And she does. Forced proximity. If your love language is acts of service, you're going to love this book. And yeah, absolutely incredible. Can't recommend it enough. This is my original tabs, if that will focus. However, the book I annotated for my friend was a lot more annotated than this. But this is like annotated and highlighted. Yeah, obsessed. Next book I read, I needed a change. So I read A Flicker in the Dark by Stacey Willingham. Now, this book is about this girl who her father is a serial killer, and he was convicted and jailed when she was 12, but the bodies of the girls that he allegedly killed have never been found. Now, she built her life. She's a psychologist in Baton Rouge, and 20 years later, or on the anniversary of her father's crimes, her worst fears come true. The killings start again. And yeah, I basically said all of this from the back. I didn't say anything else. That's all I'm going to say. I love this book. Probably one of my favorite thrillers that I ever read. Granted, I haven't read a lot, but it's really, really, really good. I highly suggest it and recommend it. I was on my thriller kick, so I read another thriller, Bad Mother by Mia Sheridan. Now, I didn't know that Mia Sheridan did thrillers. However, I saw this in Indigo when I was in Canada, and I just picked it up on a whim. This is about Sienna Walker, who gets fired from the NYPD and moves back to her hometown in Reno, Nevada. I'm reading from the back because I don't want to say anything that could be spoilery, especially for a thriller. Now she gets back to Reno, Nevada, and her first case is a serial killer who has a fixation on her. Now, as she moves along in the cases, she rekindles with an old flame. And yeah, that's literally all I'm going to say. I loved it. I loved every single second. The hints of romance were, and yeah, highly, 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 highly recommend. Okay, next we have another book for video along with Minx. This is Sin Bin by Anastasia White. I picked this up because the author has been posting her progress and I was supporting her, so I just wanted to read it. Besides, it sounded very, very good. It's like a enemies to lovers, sort of bully hockey university romance, so like they're in college. And yeah, it's about Colton and Ava. And I don't want to say anything else. Going into this blind was the best experience of my life. You'll understand the name. There's a playlist. Like, it has everything. I also annotated the hell out of this book. I don't know if you can see that properly. But yeah, I absolutely loved it. 5-star. I'm not a harsh rater, so basically all the books I read are 5 stars, if anything. But some of them are like 6 stars, like the ones we're coming up to. The next book I read was Wicked Lessons by Siggy Shade. Now this book, it's a lot, okay? Check trigger warnings for sure. I don't really know how to summarize it, other than it's dark romance, has light elements of mafia in it, and it's sort of set in a boarding school, university type of thing. That's all I'm gonna say. I loved it, but it took me a second to get into it. There aren't a lot of tabs, but it took me like a good 50-55 pages to get into it, which doesn't usually happen for me, but I did enjoy it. Now, I also picked this out on a whim. I'm a mood reader, okay? This wasn't on my TBR for September. However, I just wanted to read it. This is Hidden Scars by Andy Jackson. It is a hockey romance, It's sort of enemies to lovers. One of them has a dark past, and they sort of like go through a lot together. I don't really know what else to say about it because there's so much that can be spoiled. But I loved every single second of this. Like, I was completely intrigued with this book the entire way through. I don't think there's a single page in here that's not that doesn't have like an underline or anything. Absolutely adore this. And the second book in this series is Interconnected Standalones, comes out in November, so I cannot wait. Highly, highly, highly recommend this book. I was back in my thriller era, so I picked up The Locked Door by Freida McFadden. Now, this book was incredible. It hooked me. However, it's a similar story to A Flicker in the Dark, because her father was also killing people when she was 11, and decades later her father is in prison and the killings start again. But she's a surgeon and the killings happen to patients that she's had. This is all from the back. I'm not spoiling anything. I will be honest, I have read a lot of books since this book, so I don't remember who did it or like a lot of the details. However, I do remember enjoying it very much at the time. So I do suggest it and do recommend it. I think it's also on Kindle Unlimited, so there's that. Next is a book that I've put on so many TBRs. And if you're my friends or if you've been with me since the beginning of this channel, you'd know that Magnolia Parks very much changed my life. And I thought it was time to read Daisy Hates. Now, I read this book as a buddy read with my best friend because I got her Magnolia Parks, she loved it, and then I got her Daisy Hates and she started it and I was like, okay, I need to start it too. And I did. And it changed my life. Like, it genuinely changed my life. I have not stopped thinking about this book since I finished it. Like, there's not a single hour that goes by that I don't think about Daisy and Christian. For those who don't know, this is Daisy Hates by Jessa Hates. It's the second book in the Magnolia Parks universe. It follows Daisy, Christian, and Julian. Julian is Daisy's brother, and you get all three of their POVs. And my love for this book is, I can't even explain it. Like, I genuinely cannot explain it. I cried, I laughed, I was frustrated, like, genuinely have no words. Like, this is the tabs, but, I have no words for this book. Please check trigger warnings if you want to read the whole series. It's very toxic. However, this is less toxic than Magnolia Parks, than like Magnolia and BJ. It is still very, very frustrating, but Daisy and Christian are like two of my favorite characters of all time. I already want to do a reread to like fully like annotate it, like every page annotate, because this is very much annotated, more than Magnolia Parks, but I just like need to like fully annotate it. So yeah, loved it, every second of it, even though I died inside when I finished. Now, the next books that I read, it was genuinely on a whim because I could feel myself getting into a slump and I didn't know what to do. So I read a series. It's like a suspense thriller series by Riley Dark. It is the Morgan Stark FBI suspense thriller series. I don't know how much to say, so I will just read the blurb, sort of. It's a debut novel. Morgan Stark is he's a surgeon, and his resident, like his close friend and protege resident is murdered. Morgan feels compelled to help the FBI decipher the trail of medical clues to bring the killer to justice. Then you have Agent Danielle Hernandez, who is a rising star in the BAU, and she's climbing up the ranks, but she needs Morgan's help to solve the murders because they have a medical side to it. This book brought my two loves together: criminology and like profiling and medicine. I adored it. Like every single book in the series, loved it. There's like an overarching arc that goes on in all 5 books, but I absolutely loved every minute of it. Highly recommend it. It is on Kindle. It's on Kindle, and I believe on Kindle Unlimited as well. So very much recommend. Go read it. And then I read the first 2 books because I finished that series. It's 5 books, and then so the book I read in the second series that I read from this author after I finished the Morgan Stark series was First Murder by also Riley Dark. This one, however, is about Alex Quinn, who's 29. She's born to Italian-Turkish parents and is very smart. She works in Interpol, and like her main focus is serial killers. So for the first book, it is a serial killer who strikes in Venice, and he sort of kills in like, I don't really know how to explain it. There is not really like a synopsis for this book, except like that she is very smart, and she just chases after serial killers. I love that book too. I did like Morgan Stark more, the first book, compared to this one. And then I read the second book in the series, which is also like her. It's so the series is just all the same character, however, it's different cases. So the second book is a serial killer who preys on people in high trafficked historic sites, and Interpol does a task force to hunt them before panic spreads, and they put Alex on it, and so you just follow that through. I am right now currently reading the third book. I can't really say much because like, yes, it's not the same case in every book, but there's like an overarching arc like there was in Morgan Stark for her and her history and why she went into criminology. And yeah, I just love that book too. So yeah, those are all the books that I read in September. I read 21 books. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 physical, and I forgot to talk about a book that I read after Disarray, but I also read it online, therefore I forgot that I read it. I read Butcher and Blackbird. Now this book has been going around TikTok and YouTube, and like all the influencers are reading it. However, I got this rec by Madison Fox. I saw her post it and she was like, this book is amazing. So I just went on and bought it and read it. It's 2 serial killers who meet very unexpectedly and have this competition every year to see who will kill another serial killer first. It's like a dark rom-com serial killer book. I don't really know how to explain it. I loved it. It was so funny to me. I can't wait for the other books in the series. And yeah, and then I read 3 other books that I will talk about in another video. So you'll get my full thoughts on that in another video. But yeah, now those are all the books that I read. I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you did, please like and subscribe. It helps me a lot. And I'll see you in the next one.